Two Balls and a Mic. Today we have a special guest, a very special guest, somebody that was also with me, unlike you, on Saturday inside Carruth Stadium. Actually, one half of the now formerly named unnamed pre and post game show. Now it's called, I believe, Match Day Live. One half of the unnamed soccer podcast as well, Mr. Jordan Carruth. How are you doing, Jordan?
Fellas, what is happening?
As of a couple minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, a lot happened that has made me very, very, very sad, upset.
They got better 15 minutes ago, too.
Yeah, because he's a Manchester United supporter. And so we just saw Chelsea got destroyed, and then they tried to make a comeback against Liverpool. But we'll get to the sadness in a little bit. Let's start with some other sadness, I guess. San Diego Loyal with their first loss this last Sunday against Los Dos. Mr. Jordan over here was part of, I guess, the official media for the Loyal. And so I just wanted to ask, like, what's that been like? How was that process of, being named, part of the official media presence of San Diego Loyal?
Well, it's exciting to be doing the pre and post match with Darren. It's exciting to have the podcast be recognized and that be used as a show before the match and after the match. I remember the last time we were at Carruth Stadium, fellas, I ran into you guys. I got a very cool sticker that I've kept in my office ever since.
That's a relic, my friend. We got one of the new ones on there.
It's the OG stuff right here, originals. But I'll happily, next time I see you, I will happily update my sticker collection. It's been a lot of fun. I think the most fun is that Darren and I kind of just going to do what we've always done on the podcast, which is just try to have as much fun as possible. It's a podcast we started 5 years ago, not to break down matches necessarily, which I guess traditionally maybe you get with a few pre and post matches, but I mean, anyone who's been listening to our podcast knows, like, we enjoy talking about the experience that goes into going to a match, and that is hanging out with your friends, that is going out for drinks, for food. It's the 90 minutes that you watch together and you sing together and you have as much fun as possible and you support your club. But for us in the podcast, it's always been a lot more than just that 90 minutes. And so it's really exciting to go ahead and use that and attach it to San Diego Loyal. It's really unfortunate that we don't get any fans here in the first season, because it's especially in the sport, we always talk about it. It's such a important factor to the environment. So it was very exciting to be inside Carruth Stadium Sunday night and to witness it. But as someone who was inside the stadium, and I know you guys had a presence inside the stadium as well, it was very different. It felt pretty hollow without fans, didn't it?
No, yeah, definitely. It was a eerie experience just even being there and thinking of this being one of the first sporting events just being held with people in the stands is surreal in a sense. And when you come up and play soccer as a kid or high school or whatever, you're kind of sometimes used to being no fans in the stands. So I can see that maybe being beneficial for some people, but it's good to be able to hear not just what the coaches are yelling, what Nate's yelling to the players, change of formation, or Jack sliding in and almost breaking somebody's leg. I'd say that because it sounds so loud. And I don't know if that's something that, took you aback. Those tackles, they're not soft. Yeah. Those legs are strong. But no, it was a really incredible experience. Thank you to the Loyal for letting us in there. I believe you were asking about the protocol again, because you might be able to go in next time.
Yeah, so I mean, as someone that was there on Sunday, I mean, I know this is kind of like a test for SD Loyal to prove to the university that they are able to follow the COVID guidelines. So how do you feel like the team or the staff did following those guidelines?
I mean, I think they did extremely well. I'm sure there was concern before they took off to Utah and went to Salt Lake before they played Monarchs last weekend before they hosted Los Dos. I'm sure there was concerns. You're traveling, you're going on a flight with Southwest, you're staying in a hotel. You do everything you can, but you can't control everything. So I'm sure there's a little bit of concern, and not just with San Diego Loyal. That's a concern with the entire league. The way that they've set it up for the return to play is you'll get a match, maybe two. It may only be one where it's more than 500 miles and then you fly, but everything else you're on a bus. You try to control your environment, stay in your bubble as much as possible. For Darren and I with the podcast, we're getting tested just like the team. So we have weekly tests to make sure we can go in the stadium. So as long as we pass our tests, we're there. So we've been inside that protocol, and I mean, they haven't had any. We've seen other clubs with positive tests, and it's postponed matches so far. It hasn't impacted. Fortunately, it hasn't impacted San Diego. So far, so good.
Definitely, and hopefully we can maybe get you in next time, or
Hopefully.
both of us in. I don't know if you know, Jordan. Have you seen that bench on the um, east side up top? There's a little bench that just overlooks everything. You can see everything beautifully. So that's probably somewhere where I'll be if I'm not allowed this next time. But let's talk a little bit about the match itself, because it was disappointing to have a loss, obviously a first loss, and it happens. But were you surprised with how I guess poorly San Diego played in a sense for the majority of the match, or how was your how did you think that game could have gone differently?
Yeah, so I guess my expectation, there was a lot of buildup going into that match. I thought there was a lot of eyeballs on Sunday night. Like, I don't know if you guys felt it, but I felt a lot of attention kind of being sent towards the Loyal direction. You get a big win out of the break on the road against Monarchs, a really, really good team. And so you start to look at those standings. You see where Loyal are in Group B, and it's a really difficult group. And so you start to get excited, and you go up against a team in Galaxy 2. You have no idea what to expect from Galaxy 2. You never know what to expect with their roster, who's actually going to be playing, who's being called up, who's being sent down. I thought there were a lot of unknowns going into that match. I know there was a lot of excitement going in, but this is a Loyola club playing its fourth match ever in club history, coming off a 3+ month pandemic. Like, I don't know what the expectation is. I think you're going to see performances like you did in Utah where they surprise people and they get all 3 points on the road against a really good team, the defending champions. And then I don't think it's going to be a huge surprise for any club in USL to throw out a match that you kind of saw from San Diego Loyal Sunday night against Los Dos. I thought Galaxy 2 looked really good. It looked like they took it to them pretty good in the first half. They looked really fast. They looked quick. They looked organized. It looked like Loyal for the first time looked like a club coming off a 4-month pandemic. So I don't know. We talked about it earlier today when we were at practice and recording the podcast. It was this is all kind of part of the excitement of having our own club in San Diego, right? Like, you get excited for all the kids, you get excited for all the news, for the players, for the first match, you get excited for the first win. But with that, there's the first loss. You'll have the first draw that we had against Vegas, the first time out. There's a lot of firsts with this club. This happened to be the first loss. So we'll see how they respond. Obviously, there's questions who's going to be scoring for SD Loyal, but it's so early. I think there's still so much to learn about this club, and it's still so early.
Yeah, and it's it's good to have one of each now. I guess we know what it's like to win. We know what it's like to lose. We know what it's like to tie. I think we got our losing and tying out of the way. So let's just win the rest of the season, right?
Right. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, so you were at the practice today, which is pretty cool. How do you see like the team's morale? I mean, 3 days after their loss. So did you see them being more positive with themselves, or how did you see that?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I thought it was a very upbeat practice. I don't go to many of these practices. I really don't know what to compare it to. But I know for sure what I saw today wasn't a team that looked like they were moping around or sad about a match from Sunday. There was intensity is a word I remember Darren and I using. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or off the podcast, but I remember saying, like, there's some intensity here. It feels like there's some urgency. They looked organized. I didn't stay for I didn't see the very end of the practice, but the portions that I did see, the very beginning was kind of just warm-ups, but eventually they got into 11-on-11 drill, and there was some really fun goals. There was some scoring. There was a lot of action. So it was a lot of fun to be at practice. Definitely wasn't a sad environment. There was music. There was a lot of chatter. People were upbeat, and goals were being scored. So it seemed like they were good today.
That was great to hear.
So whenever we do get this second, I say second because there's only been one home goal, even if it's in front of no crowd. Obviously, you are part of the official broadcast. Uh, Are you gonna cheer? Are you? Because I know you were talking about whether or not Darren's gonna have a quelled, soft goal by Atuaheni guys, or a good hearty San Diego loyal goal. Are you yourself on the sidelines gonna celebrate that, or are you just gonna keep it professional and little fist bump, little starting pitcher fist bump?
I don't know. There's they leave a lot of beers on our set, so I mean I don't know what to expect. I think the real attention should be focused on Darren because, as you mentioned, he was the public address announcer for Sunday night's match, and it sounds like, according to Darren, he'll be doing the PA once again this weekend. And if we do get a goal, all eyes obviously on SD Loyal for the celebration and all that. I mean, I get it. But again, what will that sound like coming from the PA booth? How will Darren actually? I mean, do you guys have any guesses? Do you think he goes all out, or do you think he kind of keeps it pretty low key, pretty monotone? Like, what do you expect to happen?
Well, look, we were doing we've been doing these Zoom calls, so we bought the premium package, so we can have longer than 45-minute Zoom calls. And so we invite some of the fans and locals so they can watch. It's a watch along. We don't stream it, but it's us watching the game, just having us be together. So we were trying to get some stuff like talking and, hey, how's it going? And then all you hear is just Darren's just booming voice just go through everybody's ears. And my goodness, he handled that national anthem so well. But everybody got to hear it. So I agree. I did hear the Landon Donovan halftime interview you had. So I know you feel the not necessarily pain, but you understand where we're coming from, where I think we should expect a good, hearty goal sound coming out of the PA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting people at San Diego State to be able to hear it from USD. That's my expectation. The next goal call from Darren in the PA booth. I mean, I wonder, do we need to turn down the volume in the speaker a little bit because there are no fans? Like, we don't need to blast the speaker over any kind of background noise. We can hear it. So maybe it's just the booming pipes of D. Smith.
I can honestly think if he opens the window of where they're sitting and just yells, everybody in the stadium will hear it without a microphone. It's just that quiet at times. And, all you hear is the distant, be it LA. And, man, Warren Smith got really, really into it. Like, I was glad I sat next to somebody who was being vocal about their support as much as they could.
Yeah, so where did you sit for that match Sunday?
So I was right underneath. So you guys sat in where Warren sat during the match, right? Today to watch the practice?
Today at practice, yeah, that's where we sat.
So we were on that same south side bench, but I was on the other side, on the left side of the next row down. Yeah, he even crashed the
really good view there.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I didn't want to be too close, like in the front row, because I know Landon can hear me, and I don't want to necessarily get in his head, because we're still waiting to have him on. Like he's the one that's
Tony's current best friend.
He's still best friend. I also have now my assistant best friend, Nate Miller. So we're waiting on him. But no, it was a really good view, and you can really see just the entire field and how the plays. It's really nice to be able to look at the game in a professional way without having to, I guess, be distracted by other things. And it's not a bad thing. If I'm going crazy singing in section 109, there's sections of the game that I'm going to miss because I'm just losing my mind. But to be able to just watch and just see the minutia of everything that's happening on the field, it's different. And it's something that I wish everybody can be there for, ironically.
Yeah, and it's a really good vantage point because you're also raised up a little bit more than you are on the other side of the stands from the stadium. So you're up close, but you also get to kind of look down and see more. It's a really good vantage point.
Definitely, and I think I told you that hopefully we'll do these I guess watered down Jordan and Darren shows in Spanish for free. So if there was to be such a occasion presented, what tips would you give anybody who's trying to attempt a pre and post game match show, even if it's not in your language? I don't know. Do you speak Spanish, perhaps?
No, I mean, no. I'm not even going to go down that road. I can get by. I can get by going down to Tijuana. I can get myself into a taxi and to Estadio Caliente and back.
There you go.
Um, but that's the extent of it. The advice for hosting a pre and a post match.
Yeah.
I mean, just be yourselves, right? I mean, do exactly what you guys are doing. Find out what your strengths are, which I'm sure you guys are already figuring out, and focus in on that stuff and highlight that stuff. That's what I would do. Our approach has just kind of been have as much fun as possible and kind of just be ourselves. So I don't know. That's kind of the advice I throw other people's direction as well.
Have there been any talks of wheeling in a ping pong table for some unnamed ping pong predictions for the Lord?
I mean, I'm down. I don't know if I'm connecting the reference with the ping pong table, but I am down.
I think you guys had a couple, like some videos where it would be you and Darren playing ping pong, and whoever won.
Okay, you're going back to the mighty 1090 days.
Oh,
you're going way back.
Let me tell you, Jordan, I am one of the few people that still listens to AM radio, sports talk radio religiously, and trust me, April 10th, 2019 will be something we'll get to in a bit. Just prepare yourself.
Okay. Oh goodness, we're gonna talk about 1090. I was not prepared for that.
It won't be that bad. Don't trust me.
Okay.
But
no,
I mean,
it's fine. 1090 was a lot of fun.
I'll just, might as well just go in. For those that don't know, something, I don't know how to say this. Something happened. An event happened, and you guys were put in a position where you guys were down and out. I would say, you, Darren, back at this former Death Star, as Darren does name it, on his show on Extra 1360 from 12 to 3 with Marta Caswell and Jim Russell. See, I'm telling you, you want the commercials? I'll give you the commercials. But no, to be in such a position and to now just, work your way back to where you guys are now, to have the opportunity to have that pre and post game show. As somebody who's starting, we're starting this out, and that's something that we see, and wow, that was a huge challenge in your guys' career. But to move forward and, just fight for what you guys have now. And I think, some of that experience is what led to these new, opportunities. How did you navigate that, man? Because it's an intense thing, honestly, the way all that went down.
Yeah, I mean, this business is very relationship driven, and you create a lot of good relationships, hopefully. I mean, you'll receive what you put into this business for sure, and into the relationships that you create and that you build and that you connect with. And those are the relationships that kind of carry you through tough times, through good times. The media business, everyone's doing a million different things, and so there's always this balancing act. And sometimes everything is connecting all at once and everything is firing on all cylinders and it's great. Sometimes you lose a gear and you pick one up elsewhere, and you kind of rely on those relationships along the way, which is exactly what I did. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. So it's been a lot of fun to start the podcast. I mean, that was something we didn't start as because we were required to do it at 1090 or anything like that. It was something where I actually started doing a soccer podcast before the Unnamed Soccer Podcast with Alex Padilla, who is a former producer at 1090 with the Scott and BR show. He and I did a soccer podcast briefly, and then there was a huge shakeup at 1090. Just lineup not as big as the shakeup from 2019, but it put our schedules completely opposite. So Alex and I couldn't do anything, and it gave me a great opportunity. That's when I got attached with Darren. Darren asked if I would be interested in working on the show. I said absolutely, and then I mean, Darren's become he loves the game of soccer, and I've been able to watch his love of soccer grow from the very beginning, when he went to Spain on a trip that wasn't meant to take him to Barcelona to watch a Barca match. But he ends up there because I remember Alex recommending, hey, you got to go. If you're going to be in Barcelona, you got to go to one of those matches, whether it's something you're into or not. And seeing his love for it start from the beginning and just kind of create the podcast as long ago as we did, and I don't know, it's just one of the many relationships that you build in the industry. And again, that kind of goes back. You guys asked for the advice before. I mean, building those relationships and kind of really putting in a lot of work and establishing who you want to be and who you want to really like represent in how you do your work. It's really important, and it's the relationships that you kind of create along the way. It's going to help you personally, and it's going to help you professionally. I think it's something, it's people we all rely on. So yeah, it's been interesting navigating all of it, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been challenging. It's been different. I started working at 1090 when I was 20 years old. I was interning there when I was 19. I spent my entire 20s at 1090. I met my wife at 1090. She was on the sales side. She only was at BCA briefly, but I mean, I loved my time at 1090. Like those 10 years were very impactful in my life, relationship wise, everything. So it was a lot of fun, and it was where the Unnamed Soccer podcast started. And here we are with our own club in San Diego. We're doing the pre, we're doing the post, and kind of regardless of result, we're gonna have fun there on the field. So
Oh,
I wouldn't have it any other way, fellas.
that's beautiful, man. And again, congratulations for that, because it's no small feat, man. There's a lot of things that we've realized coming into this, as fans of the sports and not necessarily in media, but we realize that a lot of people in sports media are nice people, like
Yeah.
real nice people. And Jordan, you really, thank you, you're generous with your time. And even then, as a new dad, congratulations, because that's something that
Thanks.
I guess that's something different that also has changed in the last couple days. How's being dad in the middle of a pandemic, man? Like brand new dad.
Well, it's awesome. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've been joking that like there's time for a quarantine because I'm not leaving the house right now anyway. It's been a lot of fun. I will say that mom makes it a lot easier on me because she is unquestionably the superstar. It's a big day in our house. It is bath day, so Luca will get his bath a little bit later on. So big day here. But it's been, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. Like I joke with the quarantine. That really, where else would you want to be? Like I'm going to be at home, just kind of soaking it all up. My wife isn't back to work quite yet. She gets to stay home for at least a couple more weeks, so that's been good. We've been just kind of enjoying as much time together. We had a little bit of a scare early on, like 28 weeks into the pregnancy. There was concern that maybe he was going to be showing up a little early, and we're very grateful and fortunate that he waited till week 39. But from week 28 on, it was like, all right, mom's staying home, not full bed rest, but like you're not doing a lot of stuff. And I work from home, and I've been able to set myself up to really be flexible with my schedule and working from home. So it's been more than just the last 2 months with my son. Like we've been home for, I feel like since early March, since before the quarantine really was a full lockdown. Like we've kind of just, it's been a little bit of a haze, to be honest with you guys, because your schedule, your routines completely change. But I think everyone can kind of relate to that. Everyone's schedule and routines change. So it just adds a different layer, welcoming your first kid in the middle of a pandemic. I was very grateful that I was actually allowed in the delivery room. There was a question mark around that. Had I showed up with like a fever or anything, they would have told me to kick rocks. So I'm very glad that I was actually able to be in the room.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I'm very thankful that you've added a Chelsea supporter to the ranks
Yeah.
in San
man.
Diego. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about first and foremost. I don't know if you knew this. On our last episode, Chiva lost a bet, and he paid it by wearing in my Frank Lampard jersey. Because
Beautiful.
Man, horrible. One of the toughest things I've ever had to do, man.
it was sad. It hurt me seeing you in pain. But what a game. It was not what I expected. Thank you to De Gea for being such a gracious person. They knew that they were focusing on Europa. But Jordan, how did you enjoy that game? And what was your favorite part?
The generosity of De Gea. I went into that match concerned about the generosity of Kepa, and it turns out that it was De Gea that was serving it up. I, it was definitely one of those matches. I don't know about you guys. That is one of the matches I would have gone to Shakespeare's for. I would
Yes.
have been out and about. I would have been ordering a few pints, enjoying it with San Diego Blues, and because I remember 2018 in the FA Cup final. I don't know if you guys had a bet way back then when it was Chelsea United, but that's where I went straight to Shakespeare's. Had lots to drink and lots to sing about. But yeah, I watched it at home. Very different experience. I kind of get all excited. You joke that I have welcome a new Chelsea fan to the world. I kind of wish he would watch these matches with me, but he is so disinterested, which is just so I can't believe it. He's
Dad, I
either
like
asleep
baseball.
or he's
Oh,
he's
man.
either asleep or he's eating. Like he's really not
Oh.
into the Chelsea thing yet. I don't get it.
Just don't let
But
him
yeah.
resent it, because then he's going to end up a lost Manchester United supporter.
Oh my goodness,
I
that
mean, I have
is
to
a
ask,
scary thought.
which semifinal did you like better? This one that you guys beat Man U, or the one that you went to? Was it 2017? You saw them beat
Wow.
Tottenham, right?
Good on you. 2017. Yeah, we went to Wembley. We saw it was Chelsea, Tottenham. It was really weird. So I had Stamford Bridge is one of the stadiums, one of the smaller stadiums in the Prem. It's not very easy to get tickets to Stamford Bridge. I've never gone to a match at Stamford Bridge. I had been to London one time. It was the off season. I really wanted to go. We only took a stadium tour. So for the longest time, I've been wanting to go back to London. I really want to go to a match at Stamford Bridge. And I secured tickets. Don't ask me how, but I actually found a way to secure tickets. And it happened to be a match that was a flex date in case they made it too far, is the way I'm going to phrase it. If they kept advancing in the FA Cup, they were going to have to change the date of the game that I had tickets to at the Bridge. They're going to have to reschedule it, yada, yada, yada. It wouldn't have worked with my schedule anymore. And so I remember watching at 1090 during Darren's show, watching the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and Chelsea's like about to win, and I'm like kind of torn because I know I'm about to take off to London, and I'm not going to be able to watch them at Stamford Bridge. Like my tickets, like I'm not going to lose money out of it because they're going to just take your money after they move the game. But I was torn in that moment. I don't know if I obviously I'm supporting Chelsea. That's my club, but I really wanted to see him at home. But blessing in disguise, going to Wembley wasn't exactly what I mean, not going to complain about going to Wembley. It was incredible. It wasn't my first plan. Obviously, it was going to the Bridge, but an amazing experience. I mean, just the walk up to the stadium with just the funnel of people and how it splits at the very end. It just splits with the two fan bases to send them to each side of the stadium. Just the build up. I mean, it's kind of everything we talk about with soccer. It's so much more than the 90 minutes. It's getting there. It's the pre-match. It's the post-match. And it's going to be tough to beat that experience. That was a really fun experience. A couple days later, I got engaged. So that's another reason why that experience was great. But we probably spent too much money on those tickets, but Darren always reminds me, and I'm glad he kind of put this and cemented it into my head when I was in my early 20s. Like, if you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra for that, like find a way to do it. Do whatever, like find a way, because years later you're not gonna remember how much you spent. And I kind of remember how much I spent on those tickets. But I'm like I would never regret it. Like I would never think back now, and be like, oh yeah, you know what? I really wish I held on to that couple $100, you know, like, and didn't have that experience. Like it was amazing. It was right during the Chargers relocation. I remember having a brief conversation with the fan standing behind us, trying to explain what relocation was. And like, if like Manchester United were to move to London, and he about like threw me out of the stadium for even like throwing such an idea out there into the universe. I'm like, no, it's happening. Yeah, that's a tough semifinal to beat. I enjoyed that one. Hazard scored. Willian scored twice, which I don't know. What's your stance on Willian? Do you want him back next year?
Willian, I think he can be serviceable, but if we're really going into this new direction of, I have a theory that Lampard is centraling everything. If he really is going to add Kai Havertz, if he's going to add, he has Pulisic, who he mostly uses as a substitute. He doesn't really use wingers, but I can see him centralizing a little bit more with Kovacic, with Jorginho, and if he adds Havertz, now he has Ziyech. That's kind of a four where you can put a diamond of just midfielders. Stick Werner up top. You can even stick a secondary striker if you like, but I like William. I have a soft spot for him. I really do. And
I love him.
yeah, and if it doesn't work out, and I'm going to be sad, but I love me some Brazilians straight up. And if the fact that he's the only Brazilian on the squad right now, I'd hate to lose that.
He's been a part of like all these trophies for Chelsea. He's been such a huge part of this club for, it seems like, for such a long time. All the players that they've already signed, and you bring up a few that they're already rumored with, like it kind of tells you that even if he does come back, he's not going to be playing very much.
Yeah.
But I hope he's still around. Like, he's one of those players that you still just want on the squad. Like if Pedro leaves, like I'm okay. Like I'll miss him, but whatever. Like we'll survive, right, guys? I don't know what they're gonna do with Kepa and all that, but I guess that's for you guys to figure out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think with William, if Lampard's able to convince him that he's going to be more of a locker room player, and if you guys are able to get him a reasonable contract for what he's going to be doing, that way, if he stays but he's not happy, he won't alter the locker room, and he won't like be dividing players.
Yeah,
because that's happened in different soccer teams. So I could see that way him staying, but if not, I think because he wants to play.
Yeah, he wants to play, and he's not the youngest guy, but he doesn't play like the oldest guy at the same time. So
he's playing well. He's been making a big impact with Chelsea. So is United, are they gonna do us a favor this weekend? Can either win or lose? Like, do not draw. Just pick one side of the fence and stick with it. Like, go all in, get the win, get the loss. I don't care what it is. Just choose one of those two, please.
It's gonna be hard. I think with the draw, you guys should be good too. No.
Maybe.
I think the only way you guys would be fifth is if both Chelsea and Man U lose.
Is that how it plays out? I don't know, guys. I'm just scared to death.
If we were to tie, and you guys tie or win, you guys are good. But if you tie, I think you guys have you guys would be 1 point ahead.
Yeah.
But I think Man U is going to be able to beat Leicester.
Leicester.
I mean, they struggled against West Ham, but I don't know. Anything could happen. I mean, I would love to see Chelsea in fifth.
I would not.
Hey, we'll win Europa again. We'll run that shit back. Am I allowed to curse on your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. You can curse all you want, but
all right, cool.
That was their excuse for losing, which you did a wonderful job of changing the subject. I will say, bringing out Jordan going to 24 to Wembley and
that was good.
Great
Let's run it back.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you guys got yourself in a pickle now.
But no, yeah,
because I mean, Liverpool really, Man City beat Liverpool, Arsenal beat Liverpool.
If you can say confidently, we were reserving players for the Europa League and for top four. Cool. Chelsea is playing this way because we're reserving ourselves for a Champions League, and we're going to come back against Bayern Munich and
that'd be the greatest comeback, man, against this Bayern Munich. That would be one of the greatest ones.
It's not going to happen.
I love Arlo. Arlo was on the call today, right? They started talking about like, yeah, we kind of forget that Chelsea's actually still in Champions League. Like those matches are still on the schedule. They still have to go to Germany. Like, I don't know what squad Chelsea is actually going to send out there. I mean, they're going to have to send like somewhat of a legit squad, but they may mail it in at that point. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a shortened squad, not one that you're used to seeing at least.
Yeah, what I'm upset about right now, other than Chelsea obviously losing, is what is Klopp doing? Like, I understand that you're getting the trophy, the Prem presented to you today. You don't have to put your starting 11 and actually compete. Like, you could have had half of them. You had Salah, Mane, Firmino, Fabinho, everybody on there. You couldn't have half of them, and then the other second half put in the rest. Why? Like, oh my! I'm upset at Klopp, and he's usually on my good list.
Darren texted me in the middle of the match. He's like, "Did you guys piss off Klopp or something? Like, why is Liverpool so mad at Chelsea? Why are they just taking it to him like this? What was that starting 11? I was expecting. I was hoping for at least a chance at a point, and that was a rubber match. And Pulisic again making a huge impact.
Yeah.
But that was. I
think
it sets up a very interesting Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's their last home game The players want to have that feeling. Oh, we don't know when we're going to come back to this stadium again.
Play balls out. There was, I don't know if
Yeah,
you saw, there was outside fireworks getting popped, and
pretty much for
it's
like
just
the last 20
celebration.
minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I thought Klopp would help out his boy Pulisic and just be like, all right, we'll lay off a little bit.
yeah, I gave him a little
Want
cheeky
want
smile.
Pulisic in Champions League next year, but I guess not. I guess Klopp doesn't want Pulisic in Champions League. That's what I learned today.
Yeah,
But this is why I love the Premier League.
why?
It always comes down to the last Sunday
Yeah.
for anything. Maybe not for the Champions, just for
The championship,
championship,
yeah.
but for spots for Champions League, and then also you have you have Watford and who's the
Villa.
other team, and Aston Villa fighting to not relegate. They literally have the same goal difference, if one different, and one plays West Ham, the other plays Arsenal.
That's gonna be good.
So that's gonna be also fun to watch. But I mean, I love the last Sunday of the Premier League because anything can happen, and
It's something other sports should copy, right? Like, shouldn't the NFL do this? I mean, I know MLB is starting to do somewhat similar things, but it's definitely one of those things other sports should latch onto that idea.
Or maybe not. Maybe that's what makes soccer different. And we need more fans here in the States. And if we can convince the fans here in the States that things like this are really exciting, and this freaky non-playoff idea of, what do you mean there's no playoffs at the end of the season? I mean there's no like championship game that culminates everything. No, it's just however you did in the season is how you end up. But it's interesting. How do you think? I mean, I don't even know what to think with this 5-3. It just rattled me, but like I can't predict how we're gonna do against Wolves. Is Raul Jimenez gonna come back and
this is what I told Tony. How would you feel if Raul Jimenez, striker from Wolves, gets Chelsea out of Champions League? Like, now Raul Jimenez has a background playing in America, which is a team that Tony and I really hate in Mexico because we go for Chivas, they're a rival team. And Tony doesn't like Raul Jimenez because of that background. So I don't know how you would feel if Raul Jimenez happens to score a hat trick that day.
Listen, let's go back to recapping that semifinal against Manchester United. Let's go back to.
So
I missed that conversation.
Yeah. Bailey, I'm sorry, got injured. It was. And then we haven't previewed Chelsea, Arsenal.
I'm not the type of fan that's going to blame the referee. I'm not the type of fan that's going to say, "Oh, well, Bailey's injury messed everything up." No, I actually blamed Ole for the starting lineup that he had. He changed formations back to a 3 center back line, which just happened to work against you guys 3 times already before the break that we had. So I actually kind of put this blame on Ole as well as De Gea.
Happy times.
And our left back Williams, who just didn't do the fundamentals, and you're not supposed to pass in the middle when you're in the back.
Yep. Absolutely.
And mistakes killed us.
You're also washing my car, right?
Yeah, I mean, I lost the challenge 2 in the episode, and now I have to watch Tony's car. So it hasn't been a good weekend for me.
How do I get in on this? I want to get in on these bets.
Oh man.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. What you name it. Next time.
I'm not willing to bet on Arsenal.
Are you? I mean,
I'm not willing to bet on Arsenal.
They destroyed City. Not destroy. I mean, 2-0, but still, it was a good victory.
Wow.
So do I have this right? If Arsenal beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, it will eliminate Tottenham from Europa or something like that. Do I have that right? Have you guys seen this?
I think the winner of the FA Cup does go to Europa, right?
Yeah,
it does. And I think if they're not like in the top 7, if it happens to be a team like in 10th place like Arsenal, they actually take a spot away versus just simply adding them to Europa.
That's exactly.
So
yep.
There's a chance Arsenal kind of not to a lesser extent does what Chelsea did to Tottenham back in 2012 and steal away their European spot.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Which
was probably one of the greatest days in my fanhood with Chelsea. It was early, but I loved it.
It was like that, like inject that into my veins. Like those YouTube hype videos of Napoli, Chelsea. Oh no, we got to get rid of Villas Boas. Oh, who is this Di Matteo guy? Oh, what? We came back against Napoli. Oh, what's this? Torres is coming back. He scored against Barcelona. We win after a red card. Now
that Barca one.
Oh, oh,
See,
And then
anytime I
in
see
Munich,
Chelsea against
man, in
Barca,
Munich.
yep.
yeah, anytime I see Chelsea against Barca, I root for Chelsea just because of that one game that they ripped you guys off. That
It's
was
a
horrible.
disgrace, man. It's a
That was
disgrace.
horrible. That's the one time I'll feel for Chelsea.
At the bridge with Drogba going off. Yep.
Oh man.
There's some history with Chelsea and Barca in Champions League. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy doing you think it's hard doing a show with a United fan. You try to do a show with a Barca fan.
Oh.
I've never thought about that.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You know what? Yeah. I was gonna see if if we can do a simulcast with you guys, but you know what? It's all good. We'll just Jordan and I will have our Chelsea podcast.
By Cheyenne.
Sure. Anybody who's a Chelsea supporter, man.
I mean, if we grouped in Chelsea, United, and Barca all in one podcast, I mean, it's too insufferable. We wouldn't be able to do it.
I mean, we could just kick out those Manchester United guys. I can't stand them.
I mean, after Sir Alex Ferguson, it's been tough.
Imagine if Leicester actually win this weekend and it's Chelsea and the Foxes who are going to Champions League. And like Ole is still at the wheel, but he's not driving down the Champions League street. That could happen.
Unless we win the Europa League, which would qualify us again for the Champions League.
I forget about.
We have options. We have options.
Hold on. What is the latest in Europa? What is the standings there?
I believe they're in round of 16, and the teams have to play their away games still, which Man U
so it's the same Champions League setup.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. After that quarterfinals should be just one game as well. I think Man U is good because they won like 4-0 or 4-1 their first leg. So.
Yeah, I think they have a chance to win the whole thing. The only thing
Inter Milan would be like the biggest rival.
But if you win Europa, you just get back into Europa.
No, you're back in Champions League. You go to Champions League.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
That's how we got in with Mourinho.
That's how we got it. That's why I rate Europa. Like people talk smack about it. People talk like all types of shit. It's a trophy, silverware, and you get into Champions League that way.
That's why we rested half our team against you guys.
Sure you did. Sure you did. Sure you did.
Oh man, no, I'm kidding.
I'm pulling for Leicester this weekend. Yes. Just so we're clear.
For Vardy and
I'm a Raul Jimenez. I support Mexicans in Europe.
I don't.
That's fine. Wolves can win. Like as long as Leicester wins, we're good. Oh wait, no, that wouldn't work out. Oh no,
you need us.
The latest from today, man. The table changed like an hour ago. I'm still
Man
trying to figure out the scenarios.
Currently in third place.
Man U is currently in third place.
Ugh, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's gone down. I'm sorry, Jordan.
This doesn't end well for us, does it, Tony?
I don't believe so. But
I had a bad weekend last weekend. It's time for a good weekend. So Man U's gonna win. Loyal's gonna win. Chivas are gonna win again.
All right. I think you have a history of jinxing shit. I'm just letting you know.
I do.
You really have a history of it. So, I mean, next year is what we're looking forward to. What are you looking forward to in Lampard's next year with his blessing in disguise, transfers that came in with the ban and stuff? What are you looking forward to with this new squad?
I'm interested how Pulisic kind of fits in with all these new playmakers that are coming into Chelsea's squad. I'm hoping plenty of playing time. He's seen such a. I'm excited because all of a sudden there's such a Liverpool and Chelsea and Man. But it doesn't with players that they've already made official Chelsea next year, and then a couple of guys who it sounds like they're going to. It closes the gap. I don't know if I'm ready to say that they're tenders to. So I mean, I think it just closes. I think it closes the gap. I don't think they are straight to Liverpool's level, straight to Man City's level. But this year you have like Leicester and floating around at third for a long time, and now United take over third after Chelsea had it for a while. Like 3, 4, 5 has been such a toss-up coming down the stretch. Tottenham and Arsenal, usually in the mix, aren't really quite in the mix the same way that they typically are this year. How do they bounce back? So I think they kind of like solidify themselves into third. Is that how you kind of feel? Like it's a weird thing to say, but I don't know if it's enough to close the gap. I mean, they've made a few of their weaknesses some of their strengths, which I always love. I think that's a great strategy. Um, and hopefully it clicks, and hopefully Pulisic has room to participate in all this. But I think it kind of solidifies them into third, maybe a push for second. But City and Pool they just feel like they're at a different level still.
I agree. I was kind of banking on the fact that, well, maybe Liverpool, gets some players transferred out and it's not the same team. Maybe they'll get second, and then you still have Manchester City, who are gonna, focus completely on the Premier League because they weren't in Champions League up until recently for next year. So now with them having Champions League next year, I think that kind of stretches that squad a little bit, and so hopefully that's a window where Chelsea can kind of scoot on in there. Again, we have to wait until Sunday to see exactly what Chelsea is going to do, if we're going to be in competing for Champions League or I guess Europa. I guess you could throw Europa a B side team for Chelsea group stages, whereas you would need A sides for Champions League. But I mean, it's third place. We're gonna be the first third place winners, I believe.
Do you guys think if you don't qualify for champions, does that change maybe Havertz's view on joining Chelsea? Because I know for Man U, if we don't make champions, there's no way we're gonna get Sancho, and that's our main target this offseason.
I mean, I don't know what to believe when I read a few of these reports, but it sounds like he's on his way regardless of the outcome of Champions League. Apparently, he's like meeting with Petr Cech today in Germany, which sounds like good news to me. I didn't realize that so much was on the line for United this weekend when it comes to potential transfers. I didn't know that was just so.
Yeah.
That was like so black.
Yeah, because I mean, we're risking not signing
white there.
Sancho.
So if they don't win this weekend, man, now I'm really rooting for Leicester this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be losing, not getting Sancho, possibly losing Pogba. He won't resign if we don't make champions. There's no way. So it'd be tough.
Yeah, and Pogba, like that's the key. If Manchester United keeps Pogba and sticks him with Matic holding back and then creating whatever havoc they want with Fernandes up front, that's how Manchester United's going to earn themselves their fourth spot.
Add Sancho on the right side, and we're
absolutely fourth spot.
Fourth
Chelsea.
spot.
Yep, agreed. Fourth spot. But yeah, Jordan, just kind of winding it down a little bit. You usually have a question that I'd like to ask all of our guests. Obviously, you've gone to some important games, talked about going to Wembley, and, there's other sporting events too that you maybe here in the States and locally have attended. But if you can have yourself a golden ticket and you went to a sporting event in the past, not really present or future, but mostly in the past, what sporting event would like to be able to have been there live?
So I'll stick with soccer. You're asking for soccer, right?
Any sporting event. I'll take a Rihanna concert too.
I mean, guys, we may have already touched on it. It might be going to Munich. I don't know. Is the Champions League final the environment that you want to be in, though? Because being at a home stadium is so different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if like a Champions League final has like that kind of a Super Bowl feel where it's kind of a lot of executives, a lot of suits roaming around. Like, is it the same? I don't know. I haven't been.
Especially Munich, because it was at Bayern too. Yeah. They were hosting the final and they were in the final. So that's a little.
I've never been to Germany, and so I'm thinking like a trip to Munich sounds like a lot of fun. And then that Chelsea actually win. But then are you really going to be able to go out to celebrate after? I don't think so. That doesn't sound like you'd get a lot of beers after that match. You'd probably get rejected everywhere you go. I don't know. I think I've talked myself out of the Champions League final. If I can go to any. I mean, a couple of the favorite ones that I've really enjoyed. You guys were there for one of them, the very first match for San Diego Loyal against Las Vegas. Like, that's a match that you're going to remember the rest of your life. I'm going to remember it the rest of my life. There's no question about that. That one sticks. Maybe when Club Tijuana, I wasn't at the match when Club Tijuana won right after getting promoted like a year later. I know that's not your guys' clubs, but like I've enjoyed going down and just doing my thing down there. I think that would have been a really fun environment. But yeah, like a championship for Club Tijuana would have been just a fun, like a whole day trip back in the day. Champions League final, going to Germany, not getting served any beers after that, but who cares? It might be worth it. And then San Diego Loyal. I mean, that first one is unforgettable.
Well, we actually have a little bit plans. We've talked to Jack and Sal a little bit, even Avi. We're planning on taking a big old van down to TJ when we can to get some tacos. So I guess we're gonna have to get a bigger van and
Yeah.
we come along and maybe enjoy some soccer down there when everything passes. Hopefully. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us. If you can stick around a little bit for a little bit of a wrap up right after, but can you let everybody know where they can find you on social media and on the internet?
Yeah, so I'll ask people, you can check out the podcast, of course, Unnamed Soccer Podcast. I'm sure it's everywhere where you guys can find your podcast as well. I'm on Twitter at Jordan Carruth. Follow us on Instagram, Unnamed Soccer Podcast. So we're going to have a lot of cool content for SD Loyal. So I do recommend following along with everyone who's covering the club. I do want to say before I do say goodbye that how cool it is that you guys are out there and you're making your presence known and you're covering the team. And I think it's really cool. And I think I think you're going to look back on a lot of these memories that you're creating for a long time as well. So I think that's special.
Oh, definitely.
Appreciate
Really appreciate that. Appreciate your time and hopefully we get to see you a lot more often and with a lot more people very soon, hopefully. Thank you.
No doubt.
Catch you later.